The title of this video is how my postmenopausal mom got skinny, and she doesn't even know what's going on right now. But
that's typical.
That is the title of this video, but I want us to talk about that for a moment. Got skinny, got her body back to where she was. We're not focused on that. We're focused on health, and whatever happens as a side effect of that, if you release weight, that's what your body is meant to do. So let's focus on health, and you lose weight as a positive consequence to that. That's what Healthy Mummy did in the Slim on Starch program as a client of mine. And today we're going to be talking about how she did that. If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Healthy Emmie. This is my mom, Healthy Mummy, who, believe it or not, is in her 60s, which is hard to believe. So in this video, we're gonna be talking about exactly what habits and behavioral changes contributed to her being able to release weight after menopause and get her cholesterol down. She has no idea what's going on. I didn't even tell her that we're filming this. I've just come over and we're filming this video. But I was thinking this morning about all of the positive changes that you made that contributed to your success and your ability to keep this up for years. So I'm gonna go over what they were, and I'm gonna ask you some questions about them, if that's okay.
Yes.
And I might know the answers to these questions, but it'll be a good conversation for us to have. By the way, if you want to work with me, a nutrition coach and a mindset coach in the Slim on Starch program, click the link in the down bar. So I identified 5 keys to your success. The first one is the willingness to try something new. So walk us through how it felt to try a completely new way of eating after eating a certain way for 60 years.
Right. I'm gonna be perfectly honest, and it made me nervous. And I didn't even know what to do. I thought it was going to be some extreme change that I would not be able to tolerate, and it could not be any more the opposite.
But you still did it.
Yeah.
Why?
I did it because I really was uncomfortable. And I think that's the whole goal and point of this, is comfort in your own skin. And I was uncomfortable. I'm a tall person, so I've got a lot of room for error, but I really did not feel comfortable in my midsection.
And it's kind of like pick your poison, choose your discomfort. You can either have the discomfort of being in a body that you feel heavy in and sluggish in and doesn't feel like yours, or you can choose the temporary discomfort of learning a new lifestyle for the long-term comfort that comes from being in a healthy body.
Right. Also, I had a pretty active exercise, which didn't change anything, and I just got tired of always wondering if these pants were going to button, if I was going to be uncomfortable. I got tired of it.
How did you navigate the grief that comes with mourning the loss of the foods that you used to eat?
Yeah, that's a good question. I began to enjoy the foods that I was eating, and I was surprised by that. And I felt that they were doing me a good service, so I stuck with them.
That kind of reminds me of when you lose a pet. Nothing is ever going to replace the pet that you've lost, but you make room in your heart to love the new pets that you do get.
Good analogy.
And it's like nothing is going to taste as good as Nana's chocolate cake or Aunt Lorraine's artichokes.
Right.
But that's okay, because we love what we eat now. We love the pasta dish. We love the potatoes that we eat. We love the oatmeal that we eat. We still love the food that we eat. It was just a different experience that we had with the foods we used to eat.
Yeah.
And they're part of our story.
Right.
The second key to success that I identified with you is your food prep routine. How did you learn how to food prep?
It took time. Because I used to sort of be, as a mom of young kids and a working mom, I sort of used to just be a grabber. I'd grab and eat whatever was available. So it was a new task to learn, but that also helped calm me, because stuff was prepared and I knew it was there. So there wasn't that stress of where am I going to get it, that helped a lot.
And in the Slim on Starch program, there's an entire module dedicated to how to food prep, and it really is the leading determinant of success with our clients. And I tell my clients to schedule it in on their calendar. You are very disciplined with your food prep. How do you stay disciplined with it? You always have it done. And tell us how often you do it.
Yeah, probably every 4 days, maybe on average. It's just odd. It really has become part of my day, just like anything else you do for yourself, or part of my week. I should say. And I know that the supplies, my pantry supplies that I have, when they run low, well, then it's time to just go replenish them. It's really very easy and predictable.
And you have to get yourself food in one way or another.
Yeah.
So you may as well do it in a productive manner. And a Sunday well spent brings a week's content.
Yeah.
So put in the time to do it and you'll be so happy that you did.
It really takes a lot of the stress away.
Everything runs so much more smoothly.
Yeah.
It's like before you paint a wall, you put on primer. You have to prepare if you want your project to come out good.
Yeah.
The third key to success that I identified for you is mastering eating at work. So tell us what you did for 40 years for a living and what your food used to look like at work.
Right. Well, I was a nurse, a hospital nurse for 40 years, and that varied. What I used to eat at work varied over the years. You know, when I was really young, you just wouldn't bring food at all. You wouldn't even think about it, or you'd run down to the cafeteria and grab French fries. And then, you know, as things changed and shifts changed, I wasn't working days, I was working nights. It really was a lot of calorically dense, high-fat food, now that I think about it.
Great vocab.
Thank you. I've been around you
You've
for a
been
while.
watching my videos.
Yeah. And a lot of comfort food of the time. And then on Slim on Starch, I was still working and everything changed. I always had my oats for breakfast and my either my vegetable dishes for lunch or my soups, and it really was all prepped and grab and go. I never went without it.
Now, a lot of my clients who are nurses say that it's really hard to find time to eat.
Right. Definitely. No doubt about it. However, I personally start to get lightheaded if I don't. I have to eat, otherwise I don't feel well. So I may not get my allotted 30 minutes off the unit, which is hilarious, but I will go back into the report room and eat, period, for 10 or 15 minutes.
Thank you for saying that, because if the nurse feels like she's going to faint, what do you think is going to happen to the kid that's in the hospital bed? You have to be properly fueled. If you, and no matter what your profession is, properly fueling yourself is a non-negotiable.
Right.
Did you ever slip up?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and in the beginning, like any other learning curve, before you really understand how this is going to work, you slip back. You take a few steps forward, you may slip back a little. But it's okay, because you reach this plateau and this light goes on and you're like, oh, okay, this isn't hard. It's sustainable. It's actually enjoyable. I feel so much better. I look forward to these foods. So don't stop before the magic happens.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you answered that honestly, because I knew what the answer was. And the reason why I wanted to ask it was because I wanted to show people who are very inspired by your journey that the journey to healing and the journey to improving your health is never linear. And there's no timeline and there's no blueprint for it. So if you have slip-ups, you learn from them and you move on. And the behavior that you're looking to get rid of might not be extinct, but we look to make it less frequent and less intense.
Right.
So when you do have a slip-up, it's a little bit lesser than it was beforehand, and it's not happening as often.
Right, and really when you're really into the program, it isn't even considered a slip up. It's just something that you had. If you have a piece of cake, you had a piece of cake, that's it.
Exactly.
It doesn't even matter.
Nobody's in jail for eating cake.
No.
The fourth piece to your success that I identified was being okay with eating differently from other people. Namely, when we first got you started, Dad was still eating a standard American diet and was eating meat, and you guys were eating differently. And you've been together for over 40 years. So how did you navigate that?
It's kind of vague now. I can't, to be perfectly honest with you, I can't really remember. I know it was off-putting for sure. But Dad knew that you were, this was all for everybody's, for my health. So he was on board with it. It took some commitment, And I'm not really one to just sort of give up on things. I would like to see it through. And we just realized that it wasn't this big deal. It wasn't like I was sitting there drinking Diet Coke while everyone else was eating. I was eating, just something a little bit different.
Yeah, and I think it's important to recognize too that you don't have to explain yourself to everybody, and not everybody's going to understand, that's for sure. But for the people in your life that it's important for you for them to be accepting at least of what you're doing, communicate why you're doing it. And when I say that, don't go to the scientific facts and drill them with the studies. Talk about why it's so important to you. Because I want to live a long life, because I don't want to die of a heart attack in the next few years, because I want us to be able to enjoy our grandkids and be able to run around with them. So communicate that really deep why, and not as much, why the food itself is the best. Then the last piece that I think is contributing to your overall health and wellness in the long term is your mindfulness and meditation practice. Do you want to tell us how that journey has come to be, especially in the last few years, and what that looks like now?
Well, the last few years, in healthcare have been extraordinarily stressful. So to have a meditation practice, I think, is key because it gets you back to a place of calm. And there are studies galore. I mean, I don't have to tell you that incorporating some sort of meditation or mindfulness into your daily routine will do you nothing but good.
The quote that we always hear, if you can't meditate for 5 minutes a day, you should meditate for 10.
Right.
You don't know till you know. And on my Insight Timer app, I have over 100 days consecutive of meditation. I meditate before every single meal. It's really, really life-changing to get your body out of fight or flight, which we are constantly in, and get us into rest and digest.
Right.
And not just eating and grabbing, but just coming back and saying, do I really, truly need food right now? And how can I nourish myself properly? Thank you for watching. If you made it to this point in the video, comment. What should I comment?
Namaste.
Comment namaste. I love you, honeys, and I'll see you in the next video.